Good morning, everyone, and welcome to IT Unity's webinar, Top Conference Hacks to Get the Most Out of Microsoft Ignite, brought to you by the good folks at Fpweb.net. My name is Dan Holm, and I'm thrilled to be here today with Bill Baer, Senior Technical Product Manager from Microsoft. Bill, you want to go ahead and get your webcam up? All right. Hey, good morning, Bill. All right. I assume, Lyman, you are hearing me. I'm talking to our producer right now. I'm not hearing Bill. Are you hearing Bill?
Good morning, Dan. How's it going?
There we go. Now I'm hearing Bill. All right. Tech check complete. Good morning, Bill. I'm here in New York. Where are you today, Bill? Looks like you're in your office.
I am here in my office in Redmond. Got my good friend here with me.
I'm so sad. I had a wood giraffe right there. Last time I was broadcasting from this location. I wish I had my wood giraffe. Our producer Lyman loves giraffes, so that's pretty awesome. And I think it looks like you've got just a few events under your belt based on what I'm seeing behind the giraffe.
Yep, just a couple. Hopefully not
well, we're certainly going to add
frequently as it used to be.
We'll add one more big lanyard to that wall here. All right, let's dive into the topic. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Let Lyman switch our layout. There we go. Okay. Good morning from, or good afternoon now from New York, and welcome to Top Conference Hacks to Get the Most Out of Microsoft Ignite. As we said earlier, my name is Dan Holm. I'm the co-founder of CEO of IT Unity, and we're joined today by Bill Baer, Senior Technical Product Manager at Microsoft, and one of the real leads in the entire Ignite effort on the Office team. Do you want to tell a little bit about what your actual role was with Ignite, Bill?
From an Ignite perspective, I'm looking largely after, our SharePoint audience. What kind of content should we be delivering? What events can we structure around that particular audience? So not as involved as I was in SharePoint conferences, which is great. Now I can kind of hone my focus in on just, a small percentage of the audience that's anticipated to be there.
Fantastic, right on. And as everyone knows, Microsoft Ignite is the big event for Microsoft this year. And as opposed to past years where each product had separate events, we now have one event where all of the products and services and platforms and devices across the Microsoft family are coming together to pull back the curtain all at once, unveil what they've been working on, and talk about the roadmaps for the future. It's going to be a mammoth event with over 17,000 attendees. And if you're not prepared for this kind of event, these kinds of large-scale events can be quite stressful. And our goal today is to help remove that stress for you and to teach you what you can do to get the most out of this phenomenal opportunity here. So in the next few minutes, we're going to cover what Microsoft Ignite is and how to get the most from it. We'll look at sessions that you shouldn't miss. We'll talk about how to get the most from the Expo Hall and the solutions and community events that are happening there. And then we'll also look at the activities, the social side of things, the community events and activities. When we're all done, we'll take some time for questions and answers. So if you have any questions, please enter them in the Questions for Presenters module down here to the left of my video. Feel free to chat with each other during the event as well, but we'll be queuing up questions in the Questions for Presenters module for Bill and I after we're finished talking here. And as you might know, Ignite sold out. What, about 2 weeks ago, right, Bill?
It did, yeah. Like any event, there was a surge in registration there towards, that last mile. So we sold out, which is great. It's great to see the interest in the event. In particular, it's new for us, at least for Microsoft. For those that have been attending TechEd, it's one of those events that, in comparison, it's a collection of technologies. This is really, the first time that we've, embedded the Office servers and some other technologies in it. So it's really exciting to see that there is interest in this type of event.
Lots and lots of interest. And lucky for all of the people here on the webinar live today, you actually have an opportunity to win the one remaining pass to Microsoft Ignite. Thanks to the folks at Fpweb, we will pick a winner randomly and announce that winner at the end of the webinar today. So if you are attending, you are eligible to win that last remaining full conference pass. In addition, Bill Baer has created some phenomenal SharePoint 2016 product team shirts that we will be giving away that are asked during the Q&A period. So if you ask a great question, you might win a t-shirt as well. So we'll give away those prizes at the end. And with that setup, let me hand it up to Bill to talk to us about what exactly Ignite is.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So, Ignite's an interesting event this time around, particularly as just a year ago, we were all celebrating at the SharePoint conference, and now here we are looking at something different. And it's kind of ironic to look back, at least through the lens of somebody who's been with SharePoint, is I remember when we launched our first SharePoint conference in 2006, there was a lot of feedback from the community that it wouldn't, it was too narrow in its focus, and they preferred tech ed style events. And then as SPC matured, that audience then said, hey, this is the perfect event. Ignite's going to be too broad for a focus on SharePoint. So it's we've kind of gone back to the future and back, but really this is a great opportunity because it does provide a number of things that SPC never could have. And one of those is that single venue. So when you go to a SharePoint conference in particular, you learn a lot about SharePoint technologies, and in some cases we'll sprinkle in other topics such as Azure or some Windows topics. But this is really an opportunity to combine all of those. So in particular, if you're in IT, you have to focus on SharePoint, which is inclusive of all of the technologies it depends on. So in some cases it's Azure, SQL Server, Windows Server, technologies such as ADFS. So there's a lot of things to think about. And in the past, you would attend an SPC, and you would have to move on to a tech ed, or move on to a MEC, or move on to an MMS or project server conference to really get a rounded picture of how to plan your deployment. And this provides an opportunity for you to get all of the content in one place at one point in time. It's also a great opportunity to network with Microsoft. In particular, I know from Ask the Experts at SharePoint conferences, somebody would come with a very complex question about identity. And it wasn't something that anybody there could answer. This is your opportunity to connect with individuals who have expertise across the Microsoft stack. And then lastly, you'll be the first to hear roadmaps all in one place. So going back to that one venue unified technology conference opportunity. So in the past, each product group would have an event, and that event was their moment for disclosure of upcoming technologies. We used SPC, Exchange to use MEC, Windows Server and SQL Server used TechEd. And absent attending all of those, you would hear roadmaps related to one product, but not the dependent technologies or related technologies. So this is really an opportunity to get all of the roadmaps in one place as well, so you can think about how to plan the future. If you're in SharePoint, you can think about how you plan the future in conjunction with what's changing in SQL Server, what's changing in Windows Server, how identity is evolving. And so it's a great opportunity for that from a connections perspective to have that information. On the SharePoint side, we have a ton of sessions available for you, well over 100 sessions, and then if you begin to categorize in Office 365 and others, there's over 200 sessions that you could choose for just related to Office 365 and SharePoint. And by the time you start factoring in some of the dependent technologies, that grows and grows and grows. From a spotlight perspective, there's two very important sessions for SharePoint 2016. One is the evolution of SharePoint. It's on Monday following the main keynote. So right after the keynote, there's lunch, and then there'll be the foundational keynote, which is the evolution of SharePoint. We'll talk about the direction we're taking SharePoint in moving into the future. We'll also talk about our roadmap as it relates to 2016 at a very high level. So broad investment areas, our strategy, and our vision as we move forward with SharePoint. And then the second session is a What's New session for IT professionals. So this is really for those discrete capabilities that we've already been able to invest in for SharePoint 2016. You'll learn about some of those and some of the things that we're doing that will help from an infrastructure and just sustaining SharePoint perspective. And then on top of all of that, you have an opportunity to get half price off Microsoft exams. So if you're looking to get certified, these events represent a great opportunity for you to get certified at a discounted rate. You'll also be able to test drive the latest technology as well. So this, again, is another one of those opportunities because all of the products have come together under one roof. You can now participate in test drives through hands-on labs of the latest SQL technology, the latest Windows technology, be it Windows 10 or Windows Server 10. Even SharePoint in some cases. We'll have some opportunities there to take a sneak peek and test drive some of the work that we're doing. And then Ask the Experts. So the welcome reception, which is on Monday night, will also feature an Ask the Experts opportunity. So you'll be able to browse the Expo Hall as well as connect with individuals at Microsoft, MVPs, MCMs, other community influencers, and just talk about technology in a structured event. So that's going to be really cool as well and a key differentiator when you think about it. So that's kind of my 5-minute blurb on some of the value you can anticipate coming from Ignite. I'll turn it over to you, Dan, let you talk a little bit about Expo Hall, some of the logistics, and some of the things to plan for.
The amount of content's there, and in fact, for this crowd, a webinar, many of whom are Office and SharePoint people, Bill put together a list of SharePoint Office 365 sessions for it's like the SPC within the Ignite, and the link for that is over resources on the left-hand edge of the screen. So that's a filtered list of sessions that are Office specific. But it's about more than just the content, obviously. There are wonderful solutions and services that are provided by Microsoft partners and other from the Extend ecosystem that are on display in the Expo Hall. And the Expo Hall at these events actually a really phenomenal experience. I'm always amazed myself how you get out of the Expo Hall experience. The Expo Hall will have booths for hundreds of exhibitors. It's the Expo Hall sold out years ago. It's completely packed, and you're going to find solutions for just about any business problem that's being solved in the Microsoft space. That number of vendors and companies and services can be somewhat overwhelming, and so what I recommend you do is first understand the layout of the Expo Hall. When you get to Ignite, your conference got a full map of the Expo Hall, and you'll see that vendors' booths are organized in groups. So there'll be a set of solutions centered around Office and SharePoint, for example, or a set of solutions centered around Azure or SQL Server. So find the area that has the solutions in the you're interested in, and then spend some time wandering that area and discovering what's there. But also, and I would recommend maybe doing this as a second pass through this Expo Hall, have some direction. Spend some time with the list of partners that are exhibiting and make a note of what you really want to hit and almost chart a map through the Expo Hall so you can get through it efficiently when you're looking for something specific. So usually I do both of those things. I'll have one visit to the Expo Hall that's very directed, where I hit some solutions, and another where I wander and discover. And one of the things that's great about Ignite is that it's not just third parties that are there. This is where Microsoft itself will be. All of the product teams will be there in full force. You're going to find lots of both engineers and people who are on the sales and marketing side of the business. So whether it's a technical question you've got, or a question about how to solve a business problem, or a question about configuration, you're able to find those answers. Just go into the areas and look for the Microsoft folks, and they'll be able to guide you. Bill, do you happen to know what color shirt Microsoft folks are wearing this time around?
What's that?
You have to know what color shirt everyone is going to be wearing this time around, or is there a standard color for Microsoft people?
They'll likely be like a black polo in most cases, and they'll be clearly marked so you can identify who they are.
Awesome. So you'll be able to get all that, and then you'll also be able to find in the Expo Hall community theaters, which I'll talk about in just a minute, other activities. So the Expo Hall is a hub of activity, and you're going to have a lot going on there. Now, to the community side, the other huge area of value at an event like Ignite is the social, is the ability to connect with your peers, your colleagues, with MVPs, with experts, with people you've never even met before who are trying to solve the same problems they're solving. And the Ignite team does a phenomenal job of providing all kinds of ways for us to connect with each other. first and foremost, there's the My Ignite site. And when you register for Ignite, you can log on and go to My Ignite, and that's where you can fill in your profile, and it will help you find out who else is at the event. So you can search for people in the same industry, for example, or from the same geography. And during Ignite, there's going to be a conversation going on a dedicated Yammer network. So there will be an Ignite Yammer network that you can register for from myignite.microsoft.com. Additionally, when you go and eat your meals, there's opportunities to connect with people because there are going to be designated seating areas for specific geographies, regions, as well as specific topics. So you can, of course, sit anywhere you want and eat, but if you're interested in sitting with a bunch of people to talk about SharePoint Search, for example, you're going to be able to find that kind of opportunity at Ignite. In the Expo Hall, as I mentioned, there's going to be community theaters, and these community theaters are going to be where you can find community-driven content. There's going to be some phenomenal sessions presented by outstanding folks from the community. There are going to be fire starter chats, panels, and other sorts of highly interactive opportunities to connect with people in the community around specific topics. And those community theaters, again, in the Expo Hall, and the schedule for them will be part of your conference guide when we get closer to it. Around the entire venue, you're going to find community lounges. So you'll find places where parts of the community, like the Office 365 Yammer Network, are hosting lounges for the community to gather. And there you'll find not only other attendees, but you'll find speakers, you'll find Microsoft folks. So that's all happening during the day. And then at night, it really gets going. And someone actually asked in the questions already, is there something happening every night? The answer is no. There's lots happening every night. You are going to have a really hard time figuring out what to do with yourself and which parties to hit and which parties to skip. So here are some of the highlights. On Monday night, after all of the keynotes and opening sessions have happened, there's going to be a welcome reception at the facility. That's the official Ignite welcome reception. And then for this community, Office 365 and SharePoint, the wonderful and amazing Mr. Bill Baer has put together what is probably going to be the biggest SharePoint in the history of mankind at the Virgin Hotel. And that's going to be an awesome venue for us all to get together. I can't even imagine the chaos and incredibleness that's going to happen there. You do need to register in advance, though. And to give you a short link, I put a link up in the slide as well as in the resource area. So you can go to itunity.com/go/ignite SharePoint, and that will take you to the registration page, so you can be sure to be registered for that event. Bill, in addition to registration, is there anything anyone needs for that, or is it just having your name on the list?
For the SharePoint?
Yep.
So we'll have some more details. The most important first step that you can take is registering for the SharePoint itself. After you register, you'll receive some information about what you need to do to attend. Not that you need to do anything else, but we'll likely have you pick up a wristband and a couple of other things to bring with you. So due to the overwhelming popularity of this event, we had to structure it in some kind of way to avoid just pandemonium at the last minute there. And to be good guests of the Virgin, we wanted to put some structure to it as well. This is, it's still a community-driven event, so a lot of people in the community have been pulling together to help ensure that this is successful. It'll definitely be a good time. We've got commitment from all of our developers that are coming from the SharePoint team to be there, as well as some special guests that'll arrive and show up. So I'll leave that as a surprise for you. But if you have, a hard SharePoint question that you want to ask one of our devs, it's definitely, you're going to find them there. Or if you just want to mingle with the SharePoint crowd at this event, it's a great opportunity. If you want that SPC-like experience, it's a good opportunity to be around that community at that particular event. Then immediately following is the Ignite Rocks at the House of Blues. So the SharePoint runs from 8 to 10. At 9 starts the Ignite Rocks, so you have a choice of what you want to do. You can wind up or wind down, I guess, at the SharePoint starting at 8. And then for those that want to, you can attend the Ignite Rocks event at the House of Blues, or you can hang out a little longer at the SharePoint, since the House of Blues event runs until midnight.
And for those of you who've never been to a Microsoft event before, the SharePoint is the one thing you must do. You can watch the keynote streaming, you can catch up on some sessions recorded, but you must go to the SharePoint because it is a phenomenal opportunity to connect with the community. And as Bill mentioned, the next step in the evening might be the House of Blues for the Ignite Rocks. Now that is actually a big party. It's one of the official event parties, and it's an opportunity for people who actually have musical skills to get up on stage and have a jam session, to sing. So you certainly don't have to do that, but if you have the talent, you're going to be invited up on stage. And that's a great opportunity both to kick back, relax, meet people, and also enjoy some awesome and very surprising entertainment. And every single night during the event, there's also going to be after hours at selected hotels. So after the event, when you come back to your hotels, you'll have the opportunity to connect with people right in your hotels. As the week progresses, Tuesday and Wednesday nights are primarily going to be a variety of smaller parties hosted by various vendors. So one of the hacks for the event is on Monday and Tuesday, spend some time finding out which parties are happening that are hosted by vendors and get yourself invited to those. Often it requires a wristband, checking in at the booths of the vendors, and one of the easiest ways to stay in touch with what's happening as far as those parties goes is to make sure that you're receiving the emails from vendors. When you register for Ignite, you can specify that you receive emails from partners of Ignite, and if you get those emails, you'll find out about those parties. On Wednesday, stepping away from the party scene for a moment, there's a wonderful opportunity for women in technology. The first gathering at Ignite officially for Women in Technology is the Women in Technology Lunch, Wednesday at 12:15. That's going to be followed up with a breakfast Thursday morning at 7:30. That is closed. It is open only to women, so it's an awesome opportunity for them to network with each other. And then the big event, Thursday night, 7:30, the attendee celebration. Every single large Microsoft event I've been to has had a big party that has been absolutely extraordinary, and I'm sure we can convince you to break the surprise and tell us what it is, right, Bill?
Yep. It'll be great. Trust me.
I can't wait. So we've got a wonderful lineup of social activities for you at Ignite. Do make sure to spend time socializing because, as I mentioned, that connection with your peers, with experts, with other people who are solving the problems you're trying to solve is, in my opinion, the absolutely most valuable thing you'll come away from Ignite. One other way to stay in touch with what's happening at Ignite, both the social as well as what's being announced at Ignite, is through IT Unity. We are going to be doing a live blog throughout Ignite, but unlike many live blogs where it's just one author at one session, for example, a launch of a product, we are going to have all of our IT Unity authors live blogging, so you can go to one place and find out what Microsoft is saying and what they're announcing from across the event in nice, digestible forms. I don't know what Bill's doing to his draft there, but I was starting to get worried there.
Sorry, I'm actually in the process of shipping a bunch of swag to Ignite, so that's another surprise.
What fun. So that's what's going on at Ignite. And now let's take some time to answer some questions here. So let's start with a question here about content. Andy asks, Bill, is there a good SharePoint or Azure session that I should attend, or is there a good SharePoint on Azure session that I should attend?
Yeah, we actually have a SharePoint on Azure session scheduled to be delivered by Brian Alderman, I believe, which is kind of an overview of planning SharePoint and Azure deployments. But then, in addition, if you look inside of the session catalog and you move over to some of the Azure topics, there's an Azure topic on RDS with Azure Packs. There's also a disaster recovery in Azure session for SharePoint. And then there's a number of different sessions on infrastructure as a service, some of the new disks and VM improvements. And all of those are going to be applicable to SharePoint. They just don't have SharePoint in the title. They're led by our Azure team. So definitely check those out. And another question from Paul is, in some of the past events, members of the product groups had booths or areas where they gathered and where people could walk up and ask questions. That'll remain as well. So there'll be a SharePoint booth. You can show up, ask your SharePoint questions. It'll be staffed throughout the day by various members of the product group, as well as many of our engineers. So that'll be available. There was a question on InfoPath and forms in SharePoint. We'll talk a little bit about different SharePoint strategy, again, in the overview, as well as in the What's New for IT Pros. which leads me to the question about when is that session for IT pros. That's going to be on Wednesday, I believe at 1:15. I'd have to double check, but if you look at the session catalog and move down to Wednesday, you'll be able to find that there.
Awesome. And I'm looking through the other questions as well. Are there designated hashtags that people should be following during the event, Bill?
We don't have any set up yet. It's something that we're looking at to try to figure out how we can structure it. I think as we get closer to the event, we'll probably have a little more information on what that looks like and what we can do for that.
Fantastic. And someone asked a great question actually in the chat, but please do remember to submit them in the presenter area for the future. But I did notice this. How soon will sessions be available on Channel 9 after they're presented at night?
About 48 hours. Okay.
Wow. That's nice and fast. Right on. Harry asks, is there any advice on hotels that are not $500 a night? Well, I can tell you, getting hotels in Chicago right now is very, very difficult because we are not the only huge event in Chicago right now. There is another gigantic event happening during the week, and there's also the NFL draft happening the weekend before. So getting hotel rooms is tough. You all might try Airbnb and that kind of thing as an alternative to traditional hotels because hotels are very, very expensive. Bill, did the draft have something to say?
Oh no, I just had to move them again. Sorry about that. I'm actually, like I said, it's a crazy week. We're trying to ship stuff down to Ignite, so the boxes that I showed you that used to be sitting over there are now on their way to Chicago. So that's all the swag. It's t-shirts, t-shirt cannons, fog machines, disco balls, and this guy's going to go later because I can't travel without him.
And Bill, Toby asks, are there going to be any official Microsoft book signings? Do you happen to know the answer to that question?
There will be. So, you'll have to cruise around the expo floor, and you'll have an opportunity to find those. And again, just beyond just SharePoint, other technologies as well. So if you picked up books related to something else, you're going to find a number of authors there offering some of those opportunities. There was a couple of questions on hybrid too. I might as well just attack those while we're sitting here.
All right. You get some technical tips from Bill there.
Yeah. So there was a couple of questions around, will it get easier? So it looks like you're looking for some hints from a session perspective, or we've actually got a hybrid pre-day that you can still register for. So if you are registered for the conference, or even if you don't intend to stay for the duration of the conference, on Sunday we have a pre-day that's still open for registration. So you can sign up for that. It's going to be a great session. I'll be there as well as Steve Peshka, Neil Hodgkinson, Manaz Biswas, Seisha Mani, and a number of our engineers focused on hybrid. We'll talk about not only best practices for setting yourself up for success with our in-market technologies, but we're also going to share a ton of information around future and roadmap in that same pre-day. And then on, I believe, Tuesday, there's a session on some of our new search investments from a hybrid perspective. Obviously, we'll cover hybrid in the IT Pro session as well as the overview. The answer to your question is are there going to be more hooks, or is it going to get better and easier? The easy answer to that is yes. It's going to get a lot better. It's going to get a lot easier, and it's going to look a lot different than what you have today.
Awesome.
Will there be
one other? Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to say one other event question, and then we're going to run out of time here, so we want to make sure we give away the big prize. Is there going to be a Microsoft Store on site, and by any chance is that going to actually carry the Surface?
Well, that's a good question, probably one that I can't answer. If it's anything like other events, in all likelihood there will be. It's just an area that I'm not super close to. But if you follow myself or Dan on Twitter, I'll find an answer and I will post it as soon as possible as an update on that.
Awesome. And there was a great question posted in chat, so I want to address that, is what use would you bring in your survival kit for Ignite? I love that question. So I'm going to answer some things in the bill. I think you can add some as well. First, I would suggest an extra suitcase if you're someone who likes swag. because there is going to be a lot of swag there, and I usually end up not having enough room in my suitcase to bring it back. So an extra suitcase or duffel bag.
Somebody's
Secondly, a
taking home
plastic water bottle. A plastic water bottle or a collapsible water bottle, because especially some airports, San Francisco, for example, if you're flying through, no longer sell plastic water bottles. It's better for the environment to have your own. There is, however, lots and lots of liquid on site. There will be plenty of canned drinks if history is any guide. And there's generally a lot of food, but I personally bring a bag of cashews so that if I ever need a protein fix, I've got something in my pocket that I can grab. So extra bag, water bottle, and for me, a little snack. What about you, Bill?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say definitely make sure that you bring some luggage. In many cases, I'll just have a carry-on bag with nothing in it to fill up for my trip there and back. The other thing as well is, like I was saying, you're going to have a lot of room because this guy's coming with me and somebody's taking him home. So my giraffe, and I won't say what session it's going to be at, but this 5.5-foot tall giraffe here is going to actually come with me, and he's going to be a giveaway amongst a number of other wild things that we have planned for this conference. So definitely leave room for bringing stuff home with you.
Fantastic. Well, we're running out of time, so let's move to the phenomenal prize that Fpweb is providing, the last golden ticket, the last full conference pass to Microsoft Ignite. And I'd like to introduce Brianna from Fpweb. Brianna, are you online?
Yes, I am here. Thank you. And the winner of
hey there.
the
So Brianna
full
has
conference.
been busy kicking right away.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay, good.
We can hear you.
All right. So the winner of the golden ticket is Pat Esposito, and Pat will be reaching out to you to get everything figured out and get you that pass. And I also want to give out the couple shirts for some great questions. We have Paul Van Beek, Sridhar, and Lloyd. You guys had some great questions, so you guys will be getting the exclusive t-shirts. And again, we'll be reaching out with you on how to pick those up at the conference.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brianna. And thank you to the entire team at Fpweb for making this web event possible today. One last note before we head out. Next week, Friday, here on IT Unity, we have Tech Talk with Bill Baer. There were a lot of technical questions today, and I know next week we're going to dive into some of the exciting news that's coming out about SharePoint 2016. So we are actually keeping the topic a little bit under wraps for another couple of hours here. But join us next week, Friday, for Tech Talk with Bill Baer. You can get all the details on itunity.com. Bill, is there anything you want to say in parting?
No, I think looking forward to seeing everybody there. It's going to be a great event, very exciting. Even if your core focus isn't SharePoint, there's a number of different things for you. And then obviously the evening events, there's no way for you not to find anything to do in the evening after the sessions conclude. So there's definitely a ton of activity during the day as well as in the evening. And congratulations to Pat for winning the ticket.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for attending. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. My email is dan@itunity.com. You can also continue to chat for about the next 10 minutes or so, and we'll look forward to seeing you at Ignite. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks.